we offer you things like this deck of affirmation cards. There are a few of them to assist you in coming into better alignment. So let's say these cards are money and the law of attraction. Really brilliantly written. We wrote them. And it is the best of infinite intelligence, all focused on the subject of money, abundance. So let's say that you've been focusing on where you are, and you've been feeling the strain of the economy, and you don't have as much money as you want, not nearly so. And so you've decided that you are going to take the bull by the horns and you're going to do something about your physical condition. So from your place of real worry, from your place of near depression, or from your place of anxiety or fear, or even anger about your financial condition, you buy these brilliant cards and you decide that you are going to, from where you stand, improve your vibration relative to money. So you begin. I am the creator of my own life experience. Alrighty then. Whatever I desire, I can acquire. Who writes this stuff? I am the attractor of my every experience. That sucks. I can always tell a different financial story. I can tell a different financial abundance story. Yes, I certainly can. Whenever I am feeling good, I'm attracting good. So it doesn't go all that well, does it? When you want something, but you're currently not a vibrational match to what you want, the harder you try, the worse you feel. Have you ever had someone who was very smart about something that they believed, and they're having a conversation with you and you disagree, and the surer they are and the stronger they are and the better points they make, the more you dig in, sure that they are wrong and that you are right. In other words, you just sort of dig in to where you are in a sort of defensive thing, and that's what happens to you. In other words, law of attraction is feeding back to you more thoughts that are like the thoughts that you've been thinking. And just because the habit of thought that you've got going on is defying who you really are and what you really want, you can't badger yourself, you can't motivate yourself, you can't effort yourself, you can't make the improvement, you can't buck your own current. So it sounds a little futile. Well, Abraham, where do I go if I'm where I don't want to be and an affirmation doesn't help? And we say, well, it's the way you're using the affirmation. This is something that most people don't realize that we so want to awaken within you here today. If you will do 100% of your affirming from inside the vortex, you will begin to notice that from inside the vortex, when you practice affirming, when you script or imagine, when you milk being in the vortex, what happens is you develop this vibrational habit that eventually becomes more and more consistent until it becomes a chronic habit of thought. And that's really all a belief is. You can train yourself to be in the vortex more, but we just want to say to you, don't try to do it from outside the vortex. We've been saying to you for a long time, just reach for the best feeling thought that you can find. And we've watched so many of you offering so much effort, you're almost afraid of your own thoughts. We've done such a good job of convincing you that your thoughts equal your point of attraction that many people are applying for lobotomies. We just want you to take a softer approach to all of this and realize that your natural state of being is to feel good. Watch the little ones. Watch little kids, how unwilling they are to follow your train of thinking when you're pointing out to them how inappropriate they are. They won't look you in the eye. They don't want to listen. Sometimes they'll even cover their ears. If you ask them, why did you do that? They'll say, I forgot. In other words, they are not interested in practicing that outside the vortex stuff. Not at first anyway. You sort of wear them down in time. But we're wanting to convince you that since the vortex takes you in often, and you know how when you feel that little lift, Sometimes it's only there for a moment. Sometimes you can count them on one hand in the last 6 months, but there are many, many, many opportunities if you will begin to watch for them. Sometimes a little piece of music gives you that lift for a moment. Sometimes it's a memory of something that happened that was so sweet, and just for a moment before you ponder it too fully and kill it with your negative thoughts, you're in the vortex. So we're just encouraging you to feel for those in the vortex moments and then do your best to milk the moment from inside the vortex. And so just follow us conceptually here. If you've awakened and you're feeling pretty good, or someone has complimented you, or even better, you've just complimented someone. In other words, you're having one of those in the vortex moments and you're aware of it, and then you look at your affirmation card. Rather than complaining, I will focus on positive aspects. That makes perfect sense from inside the vortex. It even feels possible from inside the vortex. I can set my own standards for financial well-being. I like the sound of that. The physical me is materialized spirit. That's sweet. Might read the other side of that one. My what is need not influence my what is becoming. Ooh, possibilities. It feels so different when you're in the vortex. It feels so different to affirm from inside the vortex. No effort, it's just ease and flow. Because from inside the vortex, the current is there. Inside the vortex, there's no resistance. There's no tug of war going on within you. Inside the vortex, you're one stream. Inside the vortex, you are materialized spirit. Inside the vortex, you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, sources flowing through you. And as you use your conscious mind to affirm, to consciously affirm, make statements of desire, count your blessings, look for positive aspects, get on rampages of appreciation, think about how life is and how it's becoming. As you do that from inside the vortex, a little more, a little more, a little more, a little more, what begins to happen is you begin to develop this chronic point of attraction so that annoying things can't find you, not nearly so often. It just gets easier and easier and easier. We want to convince you, first, that you are vibration. Second, that you have control of the vibration that you offer. But most important, we don't want you ever to attempt control of your vibration from outside the vortex. It's more work than anyone should have to offer. Instead, we want you to lay low in awareness of when you might be in there. And then when you're in there, I'm in the vortex. What should I do with it? It's like finding $1 million in my pocket. What should I do with it right now? Oh, I'm out. But the more often you are aware that you are there, the more you will begin to seek out those thoughts that you thought while you were there. The more you will begin to make the correlation between what took you there, what kept you there, what holds you there, what spits you out. In other words, you begin to deliberately and consciously acknowledge your own personal state of attraction, your point of attraction, because no one is ever doing anything to you. Everything that is coming to you, everything that you're experiencing as a result of your point of attraction, and the reason your point of attraction is where it is in any point in time is only because you've practiced it there. So it doesn't matter how long you've been mostly out of the vortex. You could spend 30 days being mostly in the vortex and your world would change forever. Jerry and Esther sometimes will get into a mode or a mood. They'll be somewhere where it is just such a delicious moment in time that they will just together milk the moment as long as they can. What is it about this moment that feels so good? They go on and on and on. Anyone listening in from outside the vortex would vomit, really. It's just ridiculous to anyone not in the vortex how they're milking it. But the advantage of it to them is that it causes them to set a vibrational set point that makes it easier to remain there, so that law of attraction must treat them well. Law of attraction will bring to you the cooperative components of the vibrational set point that you've established, and you have the ability to set that set point anywhere that you want to set that set point, on abundance and wellness and vitality and love and joy and appreciation and clarity and stamina and vitality. You can set it there. You just got to find snatches of it and practice, snatches of it and practice, snatches of it and practice. You can't practice the other side of the wave and receive the vortex benefit of the side of the wave that you want. In other words, you've got to practice the frequency that allows you to feel and to see and to interpret life on that vibrational wavelength. You drive down the freeways, you walk down the streets, you live in the cities with people at all different set points. And you think, oh, we live in the same town. No, you don't. There are as many different towns as there are vibrational set points. And you are the creator of your own vibrational set point. You can set it anywhere you want it, and you can maintain it, and it will constantly improve if you want it to. Well, now you know everything we know. And there's nothing to do but practice. In other words, that's all there is to it. We encourage you to bask your way to sleep every night. Bask your way to sleep, because if you go to sleep in the vortex, you will wake up in the vortex. If you go to sleep worrying about something, you'll wake up in that same vibrational frequency. The more you practice the in the vortex vibration, the more your point of attraction will be that, and then the more the evidence will be shown to you. And it's an interesting thing, because the better you feel, the better your set point, the better your set point, the better you attract. The better you attract, the better you observe, the better you observe, the better you feel. The better you feel, the better you attract, the better you attract, the better you create, the better you create, the better you feel, the better you feel, the better you attract. The better you attract, the better you create. In other words, it just becomes that way. But we don't want you to fall back into the pattern of needing to observe good things in order to feel good. That's the trap. You've got to be able to feel in spite of, no matter what is going on. We want to show you how you can release the disease of what is itis. We want to show you how you can disregard the what isness of your reality while you observe the real what isness of your vibrational reality. As you look around your world, don't you see, even among your physical humans, such a diversity in the realities that they are living, that there's got to be more to it than you have understood before? In other words, isn't there just an incredible disparity in what people earn for the effort that they offer? There are those who work for $8 an hour and $20 an hour and $50 an hour. There are those who earn millions of dollars. There are those who earn billions of dollars. In other words, how do you ever sort all of that out? Don't you have to accept that there's something else to the reality, to the point of attraction that maybe you haven't considered, that doesn't have anything to do with the what isness? Doesn't it make you want to start exploring what those who are really excelling, what those who are maintaining their wellness, no matter how many years they've lived in their body, what those who are maintaining their relationships, no matter how long they've been together, those that are maintaining their abundance, no matter what's going on economically? Don't you want to know the true secret to what's going on in all of that? And we want you to understand that it's in this vortex. The secret is understanding that you are a vibrational being, and that the what is reality is only the bouncing off place for what is present tense. We want to convince you that instead of looking and exploring and cataloging and pigeonholing with your eyes, instead of making all of the piles of wanted and unwanted, instead of looking at in a very conditional, loving way of this condition pleases me and this condition doesn't please me, therefore we need to get more armies and more wars and more containment, and we need to control the conditions of the world. It's not working out very well, is it? We need to control the conditions of the world in order to affect the way we feel. When you discover the freedom in not needing to control any of those uncontrollable conditions, and instead you control something that is very controllable, which is your relationship with this real-time vortex of creation where who you really are is, and you discover the bliss of alignment regardless of the current manifestation, now you'll feel the power of who you are. And Don't misunderstand us. The manifestations will follow. We're not trying to talk you into getting into this vortex where you just don't care how sick you are or how poor you are. We're not trying to get you to stick your head in the sand and live in this fairyland with us. We're wanting to show you the vibrational creator that you are, and we're wanting to point you in the direction, the only place where joy and clarity and who you really are is.